Here's a new tool called Communication in 4 Steps. This tool was developed by Mona Paquet, intervener in one organization dealing with violence, both with men, women, and also teenagers and young adults. So she derived this process in 4 steps from what we call usually nonviolent communication. She did an original interpretation and step-by-step process that is easy to integrate and to use on a daily basis. In the coming video, I'll first present the 4 steps. I'll then go over with you in more detail and come up with an example taken from a situation in which Ms. Paquet had to work with a couple. And we will summarize with a reminder of the 4 steps to bring you to do some homework on these situations that you might have encountered. So the 4 steps are as follows. First step, you need to look and clearly identify the facts, the events, what happened, and what was said, the words. So it's about being factual, it's about being precise. Second step, what emotion does that make you feel? And we could also add what consequences had this situation have on you. Could be in fact emotions, fear, worry, concern, anger, frustration, grief. Could also be very practical consequences. I arrived late, I had a problem reaching out for the daycare, I had no more time left to take lunch before driving the kids to their practice, to their classes. Third step in your preparation, because this is all about preparing yourself to have the right way of communicating. So third step, having seen what happened, what triggered a difficult situation for me, a difficult emotion. Second step, what was my need and what was then kind of confronted? What was I deprived or confronted with? So I needed love, I needed to feel a sense of belonging with you, I needed to have some freedom, some space, I needed to be heard, I needed to be listened to, I needed security, I needed possibility to be affirmative, I needed to be recognized for what I did as a mother, as a father, as a spouse, as a partner, as a co-worker, and so on. Fourth step will be about negotiating your needs. That is, okay, this situation is uncomfortable, doesn't meet my needs. What can I do about it? So negotiate your needs so that the conflict with the other person's need or stance will eventually be dealt with properly. I need, you need, and it's going to be about making clear requests and be able to negotiate. That is sometimes on top of affirmation, being able to compromise on some choices. So what are the main difficulties in communicating? All too often, we start by the end. We start by saying something like, I demand. We start by saying, I won't settle for less than this and this. We often also tend to argue by dramatizing, by generalizing, by putting intentions on others' action, interpreting their point of view, interpreting what they were aiming at without even checking out on what was really there. So let's look at some of these mistakes. For instance, the first step, we have to look and state facts, events, word as spoken, not what I want to think about these. So you need to be precise. Do not qualify. For instance, your room is upside down, instead list what you see. Dirty clothes on the floor, a glass of juice, or, second example, instead of saying you are always late, list when you've been late, when that person has been late. This week, according to our agreement, you were supposed to arrive at 6 and it was 8 when you got home. That's clear, that's precise, that's factual. Second level of difficulties, what are the emotion or the consequences? Of course, we suggest that you use the I statement rather than you. I feel, I'm experiencing this. So because this can sometimes seem guilt-inducing, and what will it do? Well, the other person will feel the urge to defend herself, to fight back, but maybe, and to, lash to you on your own maybe shortcomings, while it's not the subject you want to deal with today. For instance, instead of saying, I feel abandoned, the person doesn't want you to feel abandoned. She doesn't want to abandon you. You might rather say, I feel lonely and I'm afraid you'll leave me. You're not there anymore. You don't seem to be available. Okay, that's clear. Let's look at what's happening with that person then. Rather than saying, I feel rejected, I feel unimportant, I experience this as if I'm not important. I'm afraid you will leave, or you're starting to drift away from our relationship. Tell me what's going on, what's happening with you. Okay, that would be much more closer to what would be talking about you rather than about the other's intent. Third step, our need. Well, there's only one way of saying it that is simple. I need love, I need a sense of belonging, and eventually at fourth step, I'll explain what kind of action or things could be done to kind of fulfill that need. But basically, yeah, you state what you need. And then at fourth step, before, and there's a little detail, before going over to negotiating your needs, you might want to see how the other person react. Okay, how do you feel about what I just told you? Can you see what I'm bringing up? Can you see what are my concerns? And so on, so that at least you get a feedback of what the other person has been able to get from what you were expressing. So, from that point of view, if you are able to listen for a while for that person to understand what's happening on his or her side, well, it's a good start to settle agreement by bringing up your need. For instance, I understand that you like to play your computer games, but I would like us to reserve some time together to find new activities that we would enjoy. I miss you, I miss us. So you see, and you could then even go further and propose clearly, I'd like us to put aside, let's say, our Thursday evening. I know that you don't have you don't have to work late on that evening. I don't either. So why not, kind of prepare for activities for us. Make this Thursday afternoon or Thursday evening our moment together, whether it is to shop together, whether it is to walk together, whether it is to whatever. So here's an example. The situation happened between two friends sharing a daily ride to work and back. They did this for a couple of years already. The driver has schedule issues lately, and the passenger first tells his driver friend that he wants to talk to him about it. So first thing, you announce that you need to talk about a subject, and you announce the subject, and ask if the person is available to listen, and that you want him to listen to what you have to say, the whole thing, before we engage into a discussion. You can reassure that I'll be listening to your point of view, but now I'd like you first to really listen to my point of view. So let's say that this is the situation. Here's an example of a right way of doing things. Facts. Step one. It's the third time this week you tell me you'll be on time, but you arrive late. Monday you were 10 minutes late, Tuesday 30 minutes late, and finally yesterday 20 minutes late. Facts. No comment. No intention. Impact. This causes me worries, emotion, and problems, consequences of another level. First time I thought, gee, I'll be late for the daycare. They'll be mad at me. Second time, I was also mad regarding the daycare, but also plain worried that something might have happened to you. 30 minutes, that's a lot. And then yesterday I was worried, but then that I'd be late to drive my older boy to his soccer practice and end up getting into an argument with him. So that's what's happening. Third step, needs. I need to have a reliable arrangement for the traveling. My life's organization is already demanding. I can't deal with such hazards. And then, after having heard the other person's point of view, for instance, he might have told you, well, I have a new boss at work, lots of extra are asked, he needs to get acquainted to a lot of things, and it's often last minute because he just realized that these things are important, they can't be done in any other way than. So yeah, I don't have a control over that situation for now. I managed to tell him that I have, a traveler, but I mean, I can't just push away everything. And then you reply, you state what you could propose and are open, of course, to negotiating with that person. I can understand you might have a problem with your schedule for a while, but I need a solution. For instance, give me a call during the afternoon break to let me know if you'll be on time, or check with your boss if there's anything you'll need to do by the end of the afternoon, and let me know if there's a problem. If you can't guarantee, maybe I should ask a colleague. I could also make arrangements with another colleague for a few weeks until your situation is settled. We could then resume our arrangements. Or would you have any other proposal for me? So you see, there are ways of dealing with this, and I could have said things very differently, bluntly, started that you don't care about me, you are selfish. I mean, the thing would not have worked out at all. You know that. Finally, before you do your own exercise about redefining a personal situation you could have dealt differently with, let's remind ourselves the 4 steps. State the facts, the events, what was said, what was seen, what happened. Be clear, no qualification, no judgment whatsoever. State the emotion or the consequences that the situation had for you. Third step, state your need. Be clear as possible. Fourth step, negotiate needs, that is, state proposal. After being, of course, having heard the other's point of view, the reasons why the problem emerged on his or her side. This might give you insight into other solutions than the ones you would have thought of spontaneously, so it's important. And not the least, don't forget, make an appointment to talk about this. Make sure that the other person is available, knows what you're going to be talking about, so that she is or he is aware of that. So here's your turn to work on these situations and improve on your communication. Have good work.